I've been trading for the last 7 years and I spent countless hours along with thousands of dollars on education and courses. And the result was I kept on losing trades consistently and blowing numerous accounts. And after losing everything, I finally decided to rebuild my entire process from scratch and develop a proper system and strategy. Now I'm able to make consistent profits in the market and trade full time for a living. In today's video, I'm going to share with you my exact system and strategy that is very simple to understand. It doesn't require any fancy indicators and is repeatable. Then I'm going to share with you real examples on the charts. Let's get into it. So as you can see right now, I have my trading statistics pulled up here for the first 2 weeks of February. As you can see, I'm up $67,000 for the month, 66% trade win percentage, 12 wins, 6 losses, profit factor of 3.45, day win percentage of 77% with an average win to loss ratio of 1.72. As you can see, this is what my P&L graph looks like, and these are my trading statistics. As you can see, I'm up $55,000 for week number 1. Week number 2, up $12,000, putting me up $67,000 for the month. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you my exact strategy along with 3 setups that I use on a consistent basis to help me achieve these results. I do want to mention that I've been trading for close to 7 years, and I lost for years in the markets in order to achieve results like this. So now with this being said, let's go over the basics of my strategy, and then we're going to hop right into the charts, and I'm going to show you guys live examples that I took in real time to show you guys exactly how to execute the strategy. So now let's talk about the bare bones of my strategy. And what I personally trade is something called the break and retest. The break and retest is something that I personally use every day, and all we're doing is looking for the reaction around key levels. We're essentially trying to capture trends in the markets. And within the break and retest, there are 3 primary setups that I look for, which I'm going to talk about in today's video, and setups that I use on a day-to-day basis. And all we're doing, as I mentioned, is looking for the reaction that we have off of key levels. So let's say price is pushing towards the upside. We have a key level of resistance. Now, if we can break above this key level of resistance, retest this level, we can be looking for continuation towards upside. So all we're doing is looking for this previous level of resistance to turn into support for continuation higher. Let's say, for example, price pushes towards the upside and we end up breaking back underneath. So let's say, for example, this level was not used as support and we actually break back underneath this key level of resistance. Then we can be looking for the retest back towards the downside. So as I mentioned, all we're doing is looking for the reaction around key levels. If the market wants to trend higher and hold market structure, we can be looking for upside. If the market wants to break back underneath key levels and start downtrending, then we could be looking for downside. So now with this being said, let's go on to the 3 setups that I use on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to show you guys plenty of examples on the charts, and then I'm going to be showing you guys live sessions to tie it all together. Let's get straight into the setups. So the 3 simple setups that I'm going to be talking about today is number 1, the previous day high / previous day low break and retest. Number 2, the opening range retest. And number 3, the order block retest. So these 3 are by far my favorite setups within the break and retest. There are plenty more different setups within the break and retest system, but these are the 3 primary ones that I use on a day-to-day basis. So these are the ones I'm going to be talking about in today's video. So the first setup we're going to talk about here is the previous day high / previous day low break and retest. And all we're doing is looking at its previous day's price action. You can do this on the daily chart. I personally like drawing these levels and areas on the 15-minute and 1-hour time frame. But essentially based off the daily chart, all we're doing is marking out the high and we're marking out the low on its previous day, and we're dragging it over. So this is what it's going to look like here on the 15-minute time frame. We can mark out the high and we can also mark out the low. And these areas are very key because there's lots of liquidity resting above and below its previous day key levels. And all we're doing when trading the previous day high and previous day low break and retest, let's say we're trading the upside and price opens up right in the middle of the range. We're going to be looking for the break above our previous day highs, retest for continuation towards the upside. This is one scenario that we can be looking for. Of course, once we break above, we can be looking for continuation above our previous day highs with a stop underneath. Another possible long scenario is going to be the retest off of our previous day lows. And we could be looking for a reversal trade off our previous day lows for continuation higher. So this is more of a reversal setup, but similar thing. We can be looking for the bounce off our previous day lows for a continued push back towards the upside with low risk underneath our previous day lows. So these are our two scenarios for the upside. And the exact same thing applies to the downside. Let's say, for example, price you want to see continue lower. The continuation setup, we need to see the break, retest underneath our previous day lows for this continuation lower. What we can be looking for here is a short underneath our previous day lows, and we could be looking for continuation towards the downside. Another possible scenario here is if price comes up and towards our previous day highs, rejects, we can be looking for continuation lower as well. We can have a stop, just a break above, and we could be looking for continuation back towards the downside. And these are our two scenarios that could be trading towards the downside. So as you can see right here, we have a few scenarios. We have two scenarios to the upside, two scenarios towards the downside. We have two continuation setups, and we have two reversal setups. So this is exactly what it looks like here. I'll show you guys some examples on the charts here in a second, but this is exactly how to trade the previous day high and previous day low retest. The next setup is something called the opening range retest. This is one of my personal favorites. It's very beginner friendly to use. A lot of people do this on the 1, 5, or 15-minute time frame. My personal favorite is the 5-minute, of course, and that is the best one that is working in this current market environment. So what we're going to do here is mark out that first 5-minute candle. So that first 5-minute candle here that forms at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is going to be key. So the market opens up at 9:30 a.m. EST. If your time zone is different or you're somewhere else in the world, you can switch your time zone into Eastern Standard Time. And what we're going to do is mark out the first 5-minute candle. So you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are 5 1-minute candles. And what we can do here is mark out the high and we can mark out the low of the first 5 minutes. And that is going to be key because that establishes what's called our opening range. What's great about the opening range is it gives us a good indication on where the market wants to head right off the bat. So as you can see, we end up breaking towards the upside and we end up breaking above our 5-minute range high. Once that occurs, now we can be looking for something called the retest of our 5-minute range high. So you can see price ends up coming back down in towards our retest level, which happens to be our 5-minute range high. We'd like to see some buyers step in right here, and we can be looking for this continuation back towards the upside. Our stops can be below our 5-minute range high. We can look for entries off our 5-minute range high, and we could be looking for continuation back towards the upside. This is one of my personal favorite trading strategies, is using the 5-minute range high and low. I personally like looking for continuation setups. Of course, we have the reversal setup as well. So let's say we end up failing the 5-minute range high and price ends up getting back underneath. We can be looking for the retest actually towards the downside. Most people don't know this, but you can actually trade this towards the downside and you can look for a reversal trade, especially if the higher time frame is not in your favor. Now, with this being said, let's go on to my third trading setup, which is the order block retest. So as you can see right here, what I have is my third retest, which is something called the order block retest. I have plenty of videos explaining exactly what an order block is, but in the most basic sense, when we're in a clear downtrend in the markets, up close candles will support price lower. And in an uptrend, we're going to be looking for down close candles to support price higher. So as you can see here, what we have is what's called an up close candle. So we're in a downtrend here. What we're going to do is mark out up close candles. In this case, the highest probability is going to be from the bottom of the wick to the bottom of the body, and we can drag this general area over. So once we break underneath, now we can be looking for this area as a retest. So you can see price breaks underneath. We come back to retest this area. Now what we're going to be doing is looking for weak price action off this area. We can have stops just to break above this order block after this weak rejection, and we could be looking for continuation towards the downside. So our entries can be off our order block. We can have stops at the top of the order block. We can have stops close to the body, depending, of course, on your entry confirmation. Essentially, what the strategy is as long as we have up close candles supporting price lower, that's exactly where we want to be entering trades off of. As I mentioned, I'm going to show you guys plenty of examples of exactly what this looks like on the chart, and then I'm going to show you guys real examples in real time. So now with this being said, let's hop straight into the charts to show you guys exactly what this looks like. So the first setup we're going to talk about is the previous day high and previous day low strategy. And on this day, I actually ended up taking two trades. Both of the trades were both the previous day high retest. One was an immediate retest and another one was a little bit more of a clear retest. I'm going to show you both the examples and I'm going to show you guys the live session. So this was on NVIDIA. Monday, February the 9th, end up taking the 187.50 calls, end up making $12,900 on this setup. As you can see, I had $14,000 position size. Net ROI was 86%. I did end up trading 0-day contracts on this one. My total risk amount was very minimal. As soon as I was in this trade, there was no drawdown whatsoever. I ended up risking around $3,000 for a realized R multiple of 4R. And of course, the setups I ended up taking was the previous day high retest. As you can see, these are my executions as well, just so you guys know that I did take this in real time. I'm going to quickly go over my second trader here as well, but the exact same day I ended up taking AMD, $2,900 on this one, 24% net ROI. I was risking around $1,200 on this one for a realized R multiple of 2.42. And as you can see, the setup was that previous day high retest. Now let's go on to the charts. So as you can see right here, we're on the Nvidia chart. We end up having a nice push towards the upside. What we're going to do in this case is mark out our previous day highs. So our previous day highs is our 186. So coming into market open, if we can get above our 186, use this as a retest, we can be looking for continuation towards upside. Of course, another scenario here as well is a potential previous day high rejection, but I was leaning a little bit more bullish this day based off our pre-market game plan. If you do want to check out my pre-market game plan, I do live stream it on YouTube for absolutely free. So make sure to check that out. It is on my main YouTube channel. I do that at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time from Monday to Friday. So with that being said, let's mark off our key levels, which in this case is our previous day highs. And now let's go into the lower time frames. So as you can see right here on Nvidia, we're having this immediate push towards the upside. We're showing relative strength compared to the overall markets. All I'm looking for is a retest off our previous day highs for continuation. We end up getting this immediate retest here. So I'm going to show you exactly why I was really aggressive on Nvidia, but this one had relative strength. This is exactly where I personally got in. Got in as this candle was forming. Stop loss was a break below. Targets was based off the higher time frames, of course. I'm going to explain that in the live session, but now let's just play out the tape. And as you can see right there, Nvidia ended up having a super solid push towards the upside. I'm going to explain the whole thought process, but as you can see, really solid buyers stepping in exactly where they're supposed to. So you can see this previous level of resistance ended up turning into support for this continuation higher. And this is exactly how to use the previous day high retest. I'm on the next example, which is on AMD on the exact same day. And we end up taking the exact same setup towards the upside, but just on a different ticker. So for AMD, as you can see, similar thesis here. What we have is our previous day highs. You can see we have multiple touches in the previous day and of course in the pre-market as well. So if we can get above our previous day highs, use this level as a retest, we can be looking for continuation towards the upside. So the exact level we can have marked out is our previous day highs. Let's go on to the 1 minute time frame. So as you can see, price is now breaking above our previous day highs. So what we could be looking for here is now the retest off this level for continuation higher. You can see price is now tapping into our retest level. We have some buyers stepping in here as well. Now we can have a stop just underneath our previous day highs and be looking for continuation back towards the upside. Now let's play out the tape. And as you can see right there, once again, buyers stepped in nicely right off our previous day highs. And that's exactly where we look to enter in. Right off our previous day highs, previous level of resistance, ended up turning into support for continuation higher. Now, with this being said, let's go on to the live session to show you guys exactly what my thought process was in real time. Key level that we have marked at 187. Above our 187, we can see continuation. Rejection, we can see this potential push down towards that 182. As for AMD, this one, earnings last week, big push towards the downside. Key level on AMD moving forward is going to be this 205, along with our previous day highs that we can keep an eye out for. As for a couple other names. So as you can see right there, I talked about Nvidia along with AMD above our previous day highs. There were some audio issues during this live session, so I'm just going to narrate exactly what I was looking for during this live session in real time. What I'll be looking for on Nvidia here is the break above our previous day highs. This one has relative strength. Key level here is going to be that 186.95. If you can get above that with some strength here on the Qs as well, we could be looking for 187.50 or the 190 calls on Nvidia. So basically what I'm saying here is, as you can see within the first 5 minutes of market open, Nvidia is pushing towards the upside very nicely. We're now gravitating towards our previous day highs. Qs dropped right off the bat, but we're so far holding this 605. So I'd like to see continuation back up and towards this 611. As for AMD, we like to see this one get back above our 207.50 along with that previous day highs. So basically what I'm saying right here is Nvidia, we're gravitating up and towards our previous day highs. Qs pushing higher here as well. What I'll be looking for is the retest above our previous day highs, looking for the 187.50 calls or the 190 calls on Nvidia. So as you can see right here on NVIDIA, we're getting that immediate retest. I'm mentioning keep an eye out on the 187.50 calls. If you do see any sort of strong buyer step in, you could be looking for the immediate retest for this continuation towards the upside. And as you can see right there, buyers stepped in aggressively. This is exactly where I get in with a stop loss just to break below. And now I'm looking for a continuation towards the upside here on NVIDIA. This one just had a lot of relative strength compared to the market. Qs, as you can see, not as bullish. NVIDIA is very bullish, so I'm very interested in taking this towards the upside. As you can see, super strong close here on NVIDIA. This one's now pushing nicely towards the upside. What I like to see here on the Qs is a break above the 608. AMD's pushing towards our pre-market highs along with our previous day highs here as well. So we can also keep an eye out on AMD for continuation. So as you can see right here, Qs, we're getting this nice now push above our 5-minute range high. Next level here is our 610. AMD, we can keep an eye on AMD for the retest off our previous day highs. NVIDIA super strong. Really next level for me is that 193. Just taking profits along the ways, but next level is our higher time frame objective. So as AMD is now coming back down, I mentioned keep an eye out on the 210 calls here on AMD. Any sort of strong buyers, we can take this back towards the upside. NVIDIA is very strong already. We're taking profits and we're looking for this 193. As for the Qs, very much intact. You like to see this push up and towards our Friday's highs of last week. As you can see here on NVIDIA, nice buyers stepping in, picked up some of the 210 calls, risk underneath our previous day highs, now looking for a high of day plus continuation. NVIDIA, we're in a very good spot. We're just scaling along the ways. Next level here is our 193. As you can see, Qs now pushing up into that 611. AMD already took my first scales up into this first pop. NVIDIA, I've already scaled along the ways, looking for my final scale up into this 193. And as you can see right there on NVIDIA, nice push up in towards our final key level, which happens to be our 193. As for AMD, this one ended up moving nicely up into that 215. But you can see right there, this is a great example of using that previous day high retest. Perfect bounce here off AMD. Nice textbook retest towards the upside. NVIDIA, another one that was super solid. Immediate retest, you have to be a little bit more aggressive. So with this being said, now let's go on to the second setup that I have for us today. So now I'm going to be talking about the next setup, which is one of my favorites, which is the opening range retest. And as you can see, we're on NVIDIA. I ended up taking the 180 puts. I actually ended up taking 2 trades on this day once again. Both were based off of the 5-minute opening range plus our 1-minute order block as well. But I ended up making $11,700 on this one, 97% net ROI. Ended up trading 110 contracts. Trade risk amount was $2,900. Realize our multiple was 3.95. And as I scroll down here, these are my trade executions as well. Just so you guys know, I did take this in real time. I ended up taking the 180 puts, and you can see how nicely the contracts moved from over $1 to close to 270 on the contracts. Now let's go on to the charts to show you guys exactly what the thought process was. So as you can see on the charts, what I have here is NVIDIA. We're on the 5-minute time frame. You can see really solid push towards the downside. We're currently underneath our previous day lows. You can see we have that first 5-minute candle played out here as well. So we're fairly bearish on the day. What we're going to be looking for here on NVIDIA is really the previous day low retest, if that could form, or if price wants to stay heavy, we could be looking for the 5-minute range low retest for continuation towards the downside. So the levels that we're going to have marked out is going to be our opening range low on the 5-minute and opening range high. Now let's go on to the 1-minute time frame. So as you can see right here on NVIDIA, we have this nice push towards the downside within the first 5 minutes of market open. We're underneath our previous day lows here as well. What we're going to do is really mark out this general area, this 5-minute range low plus this up close candle. We're going to be using this level as a retest for this continuation back towards the downside. So as you can see right here on NVIDIA, price ends up coming back up in towards our retest level. We can be looking for shorts with a stop just to break above, looking for continuation towards the downside. This is where I personally took my first entry, but price ended up coming back up once again. And you can see nice solid rejections right off our 5-minute range low. And this is where I ended up entering the puts for the second time, which is the 180 puts towards the downside. You can be looking for a short with now a stop just to break above. And you could be looking for low of day plus continuation towards the downside. And now let's play out the tape. And as you can see right there, NVIDIA ended up having a super solid rejection off our 5-minute range low, plus our 1-minute up close candle here as well, which is our order block. So as you can see right here, we're essentially combining both the opening range retest along with our order block retest, which gives us extra confidences that this is going to be a little bit more higher probability. You can see nice push towards the downside, right in towards our take profit. So now I'm going to show you guys a live session to show you guys exactly what I was looking for in real time. So as you can see right here, to start off the day, Qs drop right off the bat. Now we're rejecting off key levels. NVIDIA drop right off the bat here as well. Underneath our previous day lows, what I also have marked out here as well is going to be our 5-minute range low along with this up close candle. So I just mentioned here, the QQQ key level here is going to be that 5-minute range low. This is the exact level we want to reject if we want to see continuation towards the downside. As for NVIDIA, our exact level here is this up close candle plus this 5-minute range as well for continuation lower.
All right, we keep an eye on NVIDIA here. Q so far, you're getting this immediate retest off your 5-minute range low. Keep an eye on the QQQ here, 5-minute range low plus your up close candle here, that 1-minute order block here. I'll be looking at the 180 puts on NVIDIA, the 180s on NVIDIA.
As you can see, I mentioned keep an eye out on the 180 puts. Q so far getting that nice rejection here. Now for NVIDIA, we want the same rejection for this continuation towards the downside.
Yeah, I'm going to try some of the NVIDIA 180s here with the Qs rejecting as well. Stop is going to be a break above this 5-minute range high plus this 1-minute order block. I'm going to be looking for low of day plus this 183 here.
As you can see, I just took the 180 puts towards the downside. As I mentioned, key level here, 5-minute range low plus this 1-minute order block. Q's rejection here is nice. Looking for a low of day plus continuation towards the downside. So as you can see right there, Q super solid drop right off that 5-minute range low. NVIDIA nice push towards the downside here as well. Came down in towards our first take profit, which was super nice here on NVIDIA. Scaled some down in towards that key level.
Not sure if there's news right there, but that actually ended up working out perfectly. Scale down into this 183 here.
As I speed up the tape here, as you can see, QQQ, a little bit of a bounce here off that 623.50. What I was talking about here on NVIDIA, as long as you can maintain underneath our 184, which is our 5-minute range low, plus this 1-minute down close candle here as well. Is kind of talking about the second re-entry that we can be looking for this continuation towards the downside here as well. Now we're breaking it back underneath this 5-minute range low.
Yeah, so Q's still staying heavy. NVIDIA still held their 1-minute order block in this 5-minute range. Let's see if we can make a brand new low here with the Qs. And then NVIDIA, we need to see it back underneath now, this 183.19, which is your after hours lows. We can get a candle close underneath this. We have some more room towards the downside. And then we like to see the Qs underneath this 623 here.
As you can see, super nice drop here on the QQQs. Another rejection here on NVIDIA right off that 5-minute range low, plus this up close candle here as well. We're just looking for this continuation lower here now on the major indices. As you can see, beautiful drop towards the downside here on NVIDIA. Qs, nice break underneath our key levels here as well. Absolutely fantastic trade as I speed up the tape. As you can see, as I speed up the tape here, absolutely beautiful trade towards the downside here on NVIDIA. Q's perfect 5-minute range retest as well. Once we got underneath key levels, next level down towards that 620. NVIDIA perfect rejection off that 5-minute range and that 1-minute order block. Super solid push towards the downside. So this was a great example of using the 5-minute opening range retest. Now, with that being said, let's go on to my third and final setup that we're going to talk about today. And right here, as you can see, we're finally on my last setup that we're going to talk about today, which is the order block retest. This is a great retest for scalps and trading quick momentum moves in the markets. End up trading NVIDIA puts towards the downside, $3,700. Net ROI was 41%. Very quick move here in the markets. End up risking about $1,600 on this trade. So my realized R multiple ended up being 2.3R. Now let's go into the charts to show you guys exactly what I was looking for. So as you can see, we're on the NVIDIA 5-minute time frame, and we have the first 5 minutes played out here in the market. And what we've created here is what's called a gap. So a gap in the charts is what's created here from 4 p.m. to 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you go on to the regular trading hours versus the extended trading hours, you'll see that when we have the extended hours turned on, which is on the bottom right, we can see the after hours along with the pre-market data. When we toggle it to the regular trading hours, we can only see the data from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Whenever you want to see if there's gaps in the charts, the reason why you want to see gaps in the charts is because a lot of the times the market will fill these gaps. It's what's called imbalances in the markets, and markets don't like to be inefficient. They like to be very efficient. So the markets are going to look to fill these gaps to essentially rebalance the markets. So as you can see, we have a huge gap on NVIDIA, and what we're looking for here is really this gap fill towards the downside. What we can have marked out here is our 5-minute range high plus our 5-minute range low. So all I'm looking for is up close candles in the markets to support price lower. So as you can see, there's an up close candle here, which end up using as a nice retest towards the downside. This one also coincided with that 5-minute range. So this one was the highest probability. We have another up close candle here, which supports price towards the downside. You can see nice retest here. Another up close candle, you had this immediate retest. So you can see price is moving nicely towards the downside. What I'm going to mark out here is just the most recent up close candle, and we can use this as resistance for continuation back down and towards that full gap fill. So you can see price is now coming up into our order block. We're looking for a weak price action. As you can see, we get that weak candle closure right there with a stop just to break above this order block. And now we can be looking for our gap fill towards the downside. Now we can play out the tape. And as you can see right there, NVIDIA ended up having that nice push right down in towards our gap fill level there on NVIDIA. Ended up being a super nice scalp. With that being said, let's go on to the live session to show you guys exactly what this looks like in real time. So as you can see right here, just to give us some context, Qs, we had a gap fill towards the downside. Market is showing a lot of weakness here. As you can see, Qs is dropping, SPY's dropping, NVIDIA's pulling back, Tesla's pulling back. Now all I'm looking for here on NVIDIA is really this order block retest for this gap fill towards the downside. So the Q's already filled its gap, SPY already filled its gap, NVIDIA still has a gap fill towards the downside. So this is the name I'm going to focus on to complete that full gap here. So as you can see right here on Qs, we're getting that immediate retest off our previous day lows. We're looking for continuation lower. NVIDIA, I mentioned, keep an eye out on NVIDIA off this 190.50 for potential continuation lower here as well. Keep an eye out on the 187.50 puts here on NVIDIA off this 1-minute order block. What we like to see is big sellers step in.
Yeah, I ended up taking a stab as well on the 190s. This one has a gap fill towards the downside. Risk is very tight. It's just above this 190.50 here. We're just looking for this rejection and looking for this potential low of day plus this gap fill here.
So as you can see right there, I mentioned I took the 190 puts, super tight stop based off this 1-minute order block, weak rejection. Now I'm looking for this gap fill towards the downside here on NVIDIA.
Yeah, I'm supposed to fill this full gap here as well. This is your exact level. Okay, yeah, nice. NVIDIA right to your gap fill. I'm up majority of my position. I'm just gonna hold some trailers now, but basically that was your full gap fill down towards that 188.77 or very close to it. Let's see if your full gap. Yeah, your 188.77. That's your key level. SPY coming down. Q's next level is actually fairly far away, 604.
But as you can see right there, super nice rejection there on the QQQ. NVIDIA right off that 1-minute order block. As I mentioned, I scaled majority down into that full gap fill. Ended up getting stopped out the remaining of my trailers as it came back up. But right there was a fantastic example of using that 1-minute order block. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and learned something about my strategy along with the 3 setups that I use. If you did, I appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. With that being said, I'll see you guys next week for a brand new video. Peace.